Good morning, okay, and 8:06. Happy Friday to you. Wow, coming up on a weekend already. You might want to travel this weekend. Maybe you're going to head up the mountain, head on to western North Carolina. They are open. They're open for business. They want you to come up, see the wonderful mountains of North Carolina and all the wonderful attractions that are up there, events that are taking place. But it's been a long year.
It has been.
Definitely has been. Someone who knows even more than we do, Dr. Lindsey Duch, joining us this morning from the Affordable Senior Housing Foundation. Dr. Lindsey, how are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Thanks for hanging out with us this morning.
Thanks for joining us this morning.
You are so welcome. I don't have a growth on me. I have a guest. So.
We appreciate you coming on. For those that don't know, share about the Affordable Senior Housing Foundation. What do you guys do?
Yeah, so our main mission is to provide affordable housing to seniors. It's very on the nose with the name, specifically those who can't afford to live in assisted living or skilled nursing homes, but also need the care. So they're not safe at home, or they don't have family support, and they need to be placed in a communal setting, but they don't have the funds to do so. So we cover the room and board, and then work with Medicare and Medicaid or veteran services to get the care covered.
And tomorrow being the 1-year anniversary for Hurricane Helene, share with those that don't know, how did ASHF get involved when Hurricane Helene landed last year?
Yeah, so it was pretty wild. We, like everybody, we were watching the news, we were watching the storm unfold, and we had 6 buildings in the area that were going to be affected. And so we immediately started, tracking and packing our own supply boxes to try to figure out how to get up to our communities. And then when the storm settled and it uncovered the destruction that no one was expecting, we had to pivot. And we found that there were helicopters running out of Hickory. And we thought maybe if we get some of our supplies on one of these helicopters, they will be kind enough to drop it off or just check on our people. And it just blew from there. We ended up partnering with several other nonprofits at the Hickory Airport, and we ran over 1,000 missions. We evacuated over 300 people. We evacuated 3 of our buildings full of seniors who needed emergency help. And then we started running supply missions for almost 8 months, not out of the airport, but out of a warehouse that was donated to us in Granite.
Consistently, we hear from people in the restoration space 2 things that are terrible for properties: fire and water. But 1 year later, kind of where have you seen the past year? Because it's very different today than it was a year ago, obviously. Kind of what's your take on looking at it as a full year now having passed by?
Yeah, so statistically speaking, there's almost 10% of businesses that are still closed, either because they're waiting on insurance claims, they've not been able to muck out the silt and dirt. So the infrastructure is still very much not there. Bridges are still gone. The lakes are still drained. There's 12 feet of silt and mud that have been laid into these riverbeds. So when you drive up into the mountains and you're like, well, where did the water go? Well, the water's underneath 12 foot of dirt in some places, and the water's been rerouted. For homeowners, there are still people living in temporary housing provided by FEMA or nonprofits or just people with kind hearts. But it is very much still functional. We're working in and through the dysfunction, as it were. Like, for example, the town of Lake Lure. I don't know if you heard, but just yesterday they uncovered 2 big pieces of their old Rainbow Bridge, which is the bridge that people put collars from their past dogs in memoriam. They found 2 big pieces of poles where all of these dog collars are still hanging, and they're in the process right now of cleaning them up, and they're going to hang them on the new Rainbow Bridge. The town itself lost its town hall, and we were able to help them find a temporary building where they can use that. So now the police station and the town hall is located still within Lake Lure, but it's on donated space while they're reconstructing theirs.
We're talking with Dr. Lindsey Duch of the Affordable Senior Housing Foundation. Nonprofit is dirty work. You got to get it. You get in to people's lives. You see stuff. I mean, what was that? What's that been like for you to just see these? I mean, a moment in time, right, where out of everyone's control, their whole lives were just changed. What's that been like for you?
It's humbling. You prepare yourself the best way you can to go into a person's life in their moment of most highest vulnerability, but there really is no preparation that you can have, and so you go into these people's lives with no expectation and honestly no that there's nothing that they can do, and you're not expecting it, right? Like as a nonprofit, you're not expecting anything other than a smile, maybe, or just a sense of within yourself that you're helping someone. But it's humbling to go into someone's life and see that they are happy and functioning, and their kids are running around in the mud, and you're like, okay, well, we can't stay here. And she said, oh, it's fine. They've been playing in it for days. It's not a big deal. Thank you so much for this. And I had brought her flashlights and mucking material, and I was like, this is not enough. We need to help you. So it's been very humbling.
And then how about those partnerships with those other nonprofits? You mentioned that you guys do that. And I imagine you do that probably pretty continuously. What's that been like over the past year with nonprofits and for-profit organizations all coming together?
It's been really amazing to see this sense of the lack of sense of self. So, all these nonprofits come together, and most of the time you're vying for not position, but just making sure that you've still got a foot on a purpose and people know your name. And for the past year, it's been a coalition of work. Everyone has come together knowing that we are all serving a great, huge community with niche needs, and there's a place for everyone. If I can't find the service, I know I can call, Camping World and Jason Siegel, and he can help. If he can't help, he knows he can call, Beloved Asheville or something. It has really been a true coalition of minds and effort.
And there are some communities that are doing better than others, we'll say at this point, right? If you go to your major town, your Boones, you go to your Banner Elks, you go to your certain spots, but there are those people of just multi-generational families and lives. What's it like to actually impact lives, like in the work that you guys do?
Well, I like to think that we're impacting lives, but I wouldn't say I haven't really taken a stock of what that's like. Our focus and passion is senior care. So if I can, by extending that, I'm helping the senior directly, but I'm also relieving a burden from the children or the grandchildren or the sister who also can't do for themselves and care for the senior. So, you're building up the pillars who built this community. And so it's very circular, but I'm sure it'll hit me eventually how impactful it could have been or is being, but I haven't taken stock of that.
Dr. Lindsey Duch, she's with the Affordable Senior Housing Foundation. We appreciate you stopping by this morning and sharing with us just how the past year journey has been and the things that your organization is working on. ASHF.org, Affordable Senior Housing Foundation. Thanks, Dr. Lindsey.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, guys.